Yay Networks.
Welcome to another episode of Plastic Surgery Uncensored. I'm your host, Dr. Rady Rahban. And today's episode, I'm actually a guest on a really fun and fascinating podcast called MiscELENAeous with Elena Davies. She's funny, she's charming, and she's packs quite a punch. You're going to want to check out this episode. We're chatting about plastic surgery, all the myths and all the truths and all the fun in between. So check out this episode. Hope you enjoy it.
Okay, Dr. Rady Rahban, welcome to the MiscELENAeous Podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, I'm really excited to talk to you. You are like top of the top plastic surgery dude, you know, all the things. And I'm excited to chat because I feel like plastic surgery, injectables, cosmetic surgery, these are all normal things that haven't really been normalized. And there's a lot of misinformation floating around, or just not enough information. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think it's actually misinformation more than not enough information. As a matter of fact, we're in like a twilight zone of too much information. You know, your mom's generation didn't know much. If they wanted to know something, they'd ask a friend. This generation jumps on TikTok and is overwhelmed with 1,000 videos. So we're definitely have no shortage of information, but it's usually pretty shitty.
Yeah, I have noticed. I mean, to be fair, though, TikTok did help me get diagnosed with ADHD. So like shout out to TikTok. But the number of other things I've seen on the internet that are just like wildly untrue, but believable is pretty shocking.
I agree.
So what I was reading up about you because, you know, I'm responsible and I prep for my podcast. No, I don't. But I was reading up about you because you're very interesting. You have always had like a knack for like art and I believe I read something about enjoying architecture and having like a natural gift in that. And I feel like not a lot of people really recognize how much art and like artistic ability is needed on the side of cosmetic surgery. It's not just medicine.
No, that's very true. I was always I'm very visual, okay, which would be to be expected, but not always true. So I think that when you look at the end work product of plastic surgeons, the objective is that they create beautiful things, a beautiful nose, attractive breasts, at least in the aesthetic world. But we both know that if you go online and you look at a lot of results, some of them are not so wonderful. So it's not given that a plastic surgeon inherently has some innate ability or can learn it. They can learn the anatomy, they can learn the procedures, but what will distinguish that's a pretty okay plastic surgeon with someone that we would argue is very talented is that innate aesthetic preference or appeal. I'm not to suggest that I have it, but I'm just saying I've always been inclined towards it. I love photography. I love architecture. So yeah, I mean, it was always something I enjoyed from the beginning.
And that's more so something that cannot be taught. Like you said, like medicine, you can learn some stuff, but as far as just like the natural ability of seeing things, visualizing a certain thing, even like symmetry, probably that doesn't always come. You can't necessarily learn that. I
No.
probably would be a shit plastic surgeon.
Yeah, I mean, look, let's put it in a different term. Let's look at fashion, right? Everyone thinks they're a fashionista. And the fact of the matter is that money can buy anything, but money can't buy taste. And why it is that certain people have great sense of style or fashion is because they know in a sea of garbage how to select the items that not only are great, but go great together. And so you can't teach someone style. It is within you. And you can't teach someone to create beauty. They can teach them to make a nose smaller. You can make a breast bigger, but you can't make it look, wow, she looks really good. It's not because the nose is smaller. It's because there's some congruency or some balance or some beauty to the product. So I definitely think it's not taught, but innate.
Okay. I feel like that's something that definitely sets you apart. But as far as like the medical side of things go, I think that's what's scary as, you know, potential clients. Like, how are we supposed to know? Because we're not medically trained. I don't know anything about fucking art. So how am I supposed to know who is a good plastic surgeon, what information on the internet is true, who I can trust, and like how to navigate that as somebody who just wants, you know, like cuter tits?
Yeah. I mean, listen, the truth of the matter is that you're very lucky. If you had to select a spine surgeon, you'd be fucked because there is no way of knowing if they're good or not.
I actually had to do that earlier this year.
Well,
and I didn't get to select it. Insurance did. I had
yeah,
one
well,
option.
my wife's had 4 spine surgeries, so I know a lot about this. But so here are the things you need to know. Number one, the beauty of plastic surgery or cosmetic surgery is you can actually see the results. So forget about training, forget about anything, reviews. You simply go and look at their gallery and you say to yourself, wow, these noses look amazing. Wow, these noses look terrible. And you don't want to go, wow, look at number 17. 17 looks good. You want to see a series, a constellation of really good results. That's number one. Number two, you got to make sure those results are real. Yeah, that's right. I said that because we live in a world of Photoshop, photomorph. And unfortunately,
isn't that illegal for like plastic surgeons and med spas to Photoshop their results?
Super illegal, but
they do it anyway.
Oh, come on. I mean, they write shitty reviews for competitors. It's a cutthroat world. It's like the medical mafia.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So number one is look at results. Number two is you got to look at training. I mean, it's so confusing. I've done 100 podcasts on this, the distinction between plastic surgeon, cosmetic surgeon, distinction between board certified in plastic surgery versus something else.
There's a difference between plastic surgeon and cosmetic surgeon.
100%.
Oh my God. What is it?
Okay, so here, listen to this. So when we all go to med school, we all decide, oh, I want to be a pediatrician. I want to be an orthopedist. I want to be a urologist. And then we go to those residency or training programs, and then we get trained in those specialties. The specialty of plastic surgery is called plastic surgery residency. And I did that. It was 6 long, painful years. When I'm done with my training, I then go and decide if I want to get board certified. It's not necessary. It's an extra certification, which naturally, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, I don't get how there's like even an option.
Well, the option is if you don't pass, you say you didn't want to take it. That's the option.
Okay.
So
but you can still perform surgery on people even though you didn't pass this one really important test.
100%. So that's not even the worst part.
Oh, good.
At least you're a plastic surgeon. Then years ago, when the insurance company reimbursements got really terrible, general surgeons who took out gallbladders, OBGYNs that delivered babies, ER physicians who took care of flus, all these people start getting paid less and less and less. That was our own doing as a country. They started realizing, what the hell? I can barely make ends meet. And I want to do what my friend is doing, who's a plastic surgeon. So they created another parallel universe called cosmetic surgery. It's called the cosmetic surgery world. And these doctors are OBGYNs and general surgeons and ER doctors and radiologists who take courses and have it's like a alternative universe. And then they get trained, albeit whatever level, listen carefully, they come out into the world and then they practice cosmetic surgery. And then they tell you they're board certified in the specialty they were originally trained in, which is like, I'm a board certified
cosmetic surgeon.
that was board certified in OBGYN. So OBGYNs are doing tummy tucks.
Okay.
ENTs are doing breast augments. So if you're a listener,
what are the radiologists doing? I need to know what they're doing.
Liposuction.
Oh my God.
Boob jobs, rhinoplasties. Dermatologists are doing facelifts. So listen carefully because I really want people to understand this. You need to do your homework. The fact that somebody has a fancy website, they have 450,000 followers, a little blue check mark, and they have influencers giving them shout outs, does not mean that they are a plastic surgeon who's board certified. So you asked me a very important question. How the hell do I know who the hell is real and who's not? So I'm giving you the tools. None of these in and of themselves are enough. But the sum total of these make it so that you're more likely to end up with someone legit than some sketchy, fly by night, strip mall kind of guy.
Just a radiologist trying to give you a little bit of liposuction.
You got it.
Casual Tuesdays.
You got it. You think it's sad, but so true. So you go look at their results, a lot of them. You make sure they're well trained. You scour the internet for the negative reviews. You call the California Medical Board if you're in California or whatever state you're in. I can't tell you the number of super famous practitioners. By famous, I mean lots of followers that have their license either suspended temporarily or they're on suspension or probation, and they just bypass that by just marketing the hell out of social media with influencers. You know who they are, right? Influencers.
Yeah, I'm familiar. They're the worst. God.
Damn.
They'll talk in anything, right? And it's just like every time a scam.
I mean, for the love of God. Oh, hey. Okay.
Wait, hold on.
Oh, wait.
That's
but
me.
you're a normal influencer.
I'm a normal girl influencer. I really stand by that. I feel like I'm probably the most opposite thing to what the traditional influencer world is, that they don't really even accept me. I'm just floating over here in my own influencer space.
Well, I'm sure you're doing good work by influencing people in the right way. But nevertheless, I think your question is a very good one. And it's a very scary world. Plastic surgery is awesome, powerful. It's transformative. It makes people happy and confident when done correctly. And if you're lucky and you get to experience it, you'll be the better for it. But you just have to make sure you stay clear of, the danger zones.
Yeah, which turns out there's way more than I thought. And I was expecting a lot. Like I've been under the knife before, and I know it's that's kind of scary, and there's a lot of decisions to be made and a lot of information, but like I had no idea it was that bad. I had no idea I could possibly be going to a radiologist for a nose job.
For sure, 100%. And it's not even, by the way, for the people listening, it's not some esoteric, cool thing to talk about because it sounds really, no, it's legit. Cosmetic surgeons are a legit entity, and they are the ones who tend to do the more traditional, a lot more marketing.
I like that I saw your mission is to put an end to revision surgeries. And I feel like a lot of us have a part to play in that, people who would be clients, because if we actually do our research, do our homework, find out who's a board certified plastic surgeon, who produces great results, who's got all the summa cum laudes like you do, then we're probably going to not need a revision surgery.
100%. So what's the objective? The objective is, listen, if you're going to go get a nose job, a breast aug, liposuction, eyelid, we want you to have a high probability of being happy and successful. Are there any guarantees? No, none whatsoever, but there is probabilities. And so when my practice over the last 15 years has transformed from predominantly a primary practice, meaning people coming in for the first time, to a highly revisional practice, meaning people come in and like, yeah, unfortunately, I had my nose done, it looks terrible, or my breasts are all capsulated. You get batty after a while. And so hence why I created my podcast, right? My podcast, Plastic Surgery Uncensored, was my way of getting information out there to the masses and trying to steer them in the right direction. And it's not to suggest that people with all the degrees and all the training don't botch people. It's less likely. That's all.
Yeah. I mean, like I make mistakes sometimes in my job. Sometimes I forget to push record. So
there you go.
We have to assume that mistakes will be made by humans in every field. And that's another scary thing that comes along with any kind of surgery, really.
Right,
wow,
for sure.
I'm terrifying myself now. You're making me think about things I never wanted to think about.
Well, that's what we have you on. That's why you have me on the show.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. We got to uncensor some things for sure.
Exactly.
Now we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with some more of my interview on MiscELENAeous with Elena Davies.
Okay, so as far as plastic surgeries go, are there some that are more dangerous, more risky than others? Are they all like the same kind of baseline risk?
No, that's a great question. So the question is what we determine as risk. If the risk we're referring to is dying,
okay.
Yes. In recent years, in the last 5 years, a procedure by the name of BBL, or Brazilian butt lift.
It's on my list. I wanted to know about BBLs.
Yeah, or fat transfer to the butt, which has become extremely popular, popularized by very influential, I hate to use the word celebrity because I don't necessarily know that they are, but like the Kim K's,
Kardashians.
Right, or little Kim, what was the other girl's name? The rapper, what's her name? Cardi B.
Oh, Cardi B.
Yeah.
Megan Thee Stallion, Black China. You know, we all want their body. I get it.
Right. You actually don't want their body. You want their Photoshop body.
Right.
You don't want the paparazzi photo body where they have the cellulite and the dents and the irregularities and all the jiggly stuff. You want the Photoshopped and or the spandex version of their body, which is I'm in 18 layers of tight clothes. So the BBL is a procedure where you borrow fat from everywhere and stick it in your butt. Oh my God, win-win. What are you talking about? This is amazing. You take fat out of places I hate and you stick it in my butt. Oh my God, sign me up. So the two problems are, of course, naturally, when you steal from Paul to pay Peter, Paul is poor, meaning the area you borrow it from ends up having all kinds of dense irregularities, loose skin. That's not what kills you. Sticking the fat into the butt has led to a lot of deaths. In Miami, in a matter of 6 months, or I don't remember the number, but there was like 28 deaths. In Colombia and South America. And what was happening is the fat that was being injected would enter the veins or the big blood vessels in the butt, because there's large ones. And the fat would then suddenly shoot up into the lungs and create an embolus. Now, emboli, or an embolus, is well known for blood clots that kill you. This is a fat clot that kills you. And it was so bad that the plastic surgery community had to put out advisories and mission statements and all kinds of stuff. So does it mean that you shouldn't do it? You should just be very careful. So as far as risks of death, that's probably the most dangerous procedure we've had in a long time.
What's the timeline on this? Is it like within a week of coming out of surgery, your fat goes up into your blood and you pass away? Or is like, could it happen within like 30 years?
It's usually on the table or immediate.
Okay. So it's like, you'll know if you're dead or not based on if you wake up from your surgery.
Unfortunately, you won't know if you're dead, but the people who love you will. And so,
yeah, sucks for them.
Yeah. So as far as other risks are concerned, they're all the same. It's called devastation. You go in, you're a pretty young girl. You just want a small tweak to your nose. It's nothing major. You like the way you look generally. You just want a slight enhancement. You go in, you get your nose job, and it looks awful. So the risk of the impact of that in your life, the ripple effect, is quite large, and how it impacts you day in and day out. You go and do a little breast augmentation. No biggie. I just want a little enhancement. Next thing you know, you have capsular contracture, symastia, bottoming out, blah, 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 infection.
Shout out.
There. So I love the fact that plastic surgery is so popular. I love the fact that plastic surgery moved from being only for the celebrity to the so-called common person. I love that everyone has the ability to enhance their lives if they want to. I just hate the fact that it's become very, it's so easy to do without any concern that it's lost its reverence or your respect. And so you would never just walk into a cage with a lion and just be like, yeah, it's a cat.
Whatever.
It's a lion. It'll kill you. So anyways.
So that's the difference between a board certified plastic surgeon and a radiologist with a liposuction hobby.
Yes, exactly. Correct.
And yeah, I know you mentioned like the Kardashians, some of these other icons in our culture right now, and how we're so influenced by them and how much fake influences us. Social media, Photoshop, things that are literally not real are the reason some of these people are choosing to do things that ultimately kill them, like BBLs.
Yeah. I listen, there's different levels of desiring change. It used to be you go in front of a mirror, you look at yourself and you'd be like, I'm unhappy with this, that, the other, and I'd like to pursue eating well, diet, exercise, haircut. I want to go get a facial, and incrementally got worse. Then it became, I'm looking at a billboard of a model or TV. Then it became magazines. The problem is, at that point, those were real people. And theoretically, barring genetics, you could sort of maybe aspire to look good or better. The huge problem today is the images, the aspiration of people aesthetically is not real. In other words, the people you aspire to look like don't look the way they present themselves. That's why I tell you, that's why I love paparazzi photos. It unveils the misleading and I think really harmful images that these celebrities create. They don't look like that. Every one of them photoshops, photo touches, uses a filter. And so you're a 16-year-old girl and you're like, oh my God, look at her jawline, look at her breasts, look at her waist. What woman on earth is born looking like Jessica Rabbit? Nobody.
Not me. I've been working really hard at it though.
Right. So I think the biggest issue right now is it's not even the fact that you aspire to look different. It's that you'll aspire to look like something you will never look like.
Yeah, that is the problem. Like wanting to enhance something on your face, having an insecurity that's valid in your own terms. That makes sense. I get that. But literally seeing something day in, day out that doesn't exist and creates like a body dysmorphia in yourself that shouldn't be there, and putting time, money, making yourself very unhealthy to literally do something that's impossible.
Impossible. Correct.
Impossible. I mean, I'm 31 years old. I've been impacted greatly by, magazines back in the day, TV shows back in the day, but more than anything, social media over the course of the last, decade, really. Like that has changed how I've seen myself, how I feel like I'm supposed to look, how I feel like society needs me to look to be accepted, or how I'm supposed to look if I'm going to get a husband or be attractive to a man. Like it has really conditioned me in this way. And I'm grown. Like I can't imagine being a young girl literally growing up in the world of social media where you don't even realize it's fake. Like you're not even developed enough to know that this shit's not real.
So there's so many issues. Number one, it's like selling cigarettes to minors. Social media should not be allowed in young people until they have the ability to decipher that, oh my God, this is all bullshit. That's like you allow an adult to decide to drink. You don't give a choice to a young and minor. Secondly, the fact of the matter is this is the new norm. So you only know something relative to something else. Oh, wow, this is bullshit because of this. But when this is all you don't know that this is bullshit.
Yeah.
Lastly, the amount of images you see, the inundation doesn't allow you an opportunity to reset. It isn't the occasional billboard you drive by. It isn't the occasional image you see on TV. It's the 1 billion images a second that you swipe through on social media, on your phone. And so absolutely, it has created the largest degree of anxiety, depression, ADD, eating disorders that we've ever had in humanity.
Yeah.
And it's only getting worse.
Worse, it seems. Yeah.
For sure.
Wow. And okay, so here's a, weird-ish question for a plastic surgeon, I suppose. Now we are seeing in this, at least I'm seeing, maybe it's because I do it intentionally, surround myself with these types of accounts, but finally seeing more normal bodies being showcased. So you see a lot of brands like Dove and I guess I'm thinking of like a lot of Canadian brands you've probably never heard of right now that are pushing just equality, diversity, showing disabilities, different body types. And I think that's a healthy thing for young people that are exposed to social media and media in general. But do you feel like that negatively impacts your world, or is that something you think is for the healthier, for the greater good?
Oh, no, it's not going to impact our world at all. There's no shortage of individuals who, from a healthy standpoint, seek plastic surgery. I don't need to create insecurities to seek patients. As a matter of fact, as a matter of fact, I'll give you a perfect example. Very often patients come in and say, "Hey, doctor," I say, "How can I help you? What are you here for?" And when they start by saying, "I'm not sure, what do you think I need?" I always say, "You need nothing. If you don't have an issue, I'm not going to create one in you." In other words, I could look at you and I could just take you apart. Your left eyebrow is higher than your right. You got a wrinkle under your right lip. Your lip is what? That's just crazy. You're creating the insecurity from which you end up benefiting on. I don't need that in order to be successful. So the fact that as a collective community, that is parents, teachers, so-called influencers at all levels, celebrities, social media influencers, and then companies and brands are choosing, albeit kind of slow, kind of small, and never too late, to change the dialogue is the beginning that we all need to do. The ultimate responsibility falls on the practitioners, because at the end of the day, you can't buy heroin without a dealer. And so the problem is that there is a very large number of providers that provide these aesthetic changes that in my mind are not integrity driven.
So you're saying that, if I were to come into your practice and be like, "Yo, help me out," and you're like, "What do you need?" And I'm like, "I don't know, man, make me cute." You'd be like, "No." But if I went to a lot of their competitors, there are people that you think would take advantage of just the open-ended question and be like, "Yeah, actually, this is kind of fucked, and we're going to need to, fix that up. And those are not even," and literally just take my money.
1,000%. I hear it every day. Like, "Oh, I went on this consult. I was so turned off." I'm like, "Why?" She's like, "I went in for my nose." And he's like, "Your breasts are small." Like, are you kidding me? Oh, absolutely.
So even without the open-ended question, what would you do? Like if I went in and was like, "Hey, I want to get a breast reduction." He's like, "Great, sounds good. But also we're going to need to do something about like your whole entire face."
1,000%.
Oh my God, that's horrible. Ew, that gave me goosebumps. Oh, I hate that.
But that's how this has become. When there's all these people that influx the market and everyone's clamoring to make a living, you're going to get a bunch of unethical people. Look at the ambulance chasers in the world of law that basically seek out people. Their advertisement is, "Have you been hurt? Call me and I'll get you millions." What the most disgusting thing in the world is that? So if you are seeking out the negativity in the world, that happens in every industry. Medicine is no different.
That really hurts my feelings.
I'm sorry.
But hey, no, it's good to know. I need to know that. We all need to know that because I don't live in that world. I don't think in that world. The only time I operate with that kind of mindset at all is when I think I need plastic surgery or just regular medicine. And so understanding that people aren't as good as you would hope they are is, it's a bummer for sure, but it's kind of necessary so that you're prepared to make better decisions when your health is on the line in the future.
Yeah, ultimately the responsibility always falls on you. We've come a long way from the old days where you go in, whoever's got the white coat knows best. Even the discussion right now about COVID and vaccines and who's right and who's wrong. The medical community is doing its best, and the overwhelming majority of physicians are good-hearted, but they are not infallible, and they make mistakes, and they're regular people with a good education or a great education. At the end of the day, it's on you to make the ultimate choices for yourself. And the more real information you have, the better you are in making good choices.
It's very overwhelming.
It is, but it's also wonderful. Don't think that your mom's generation had less issues. They just trusted the doctor. They had no information. They had no internet. Nobody could question it. There was no sites. You just took it for blind faith. And right. in their generation, ignorance was bliss. So you could arguably stick your head in the sand and regress to your mom's generation. Don't ask, don't inquire, just go with the flow. Now you have endless amount of information. Yes, too much information, but would you rather have too many options or no option? Well, I'd rather have too many options and leave it on me to do a little homework. If you don't want to carry responsibility or the burden of making your own life choices, well, then just let someone else decide for you and roll the dice.
There are some things that really require your full like research, do your homework, pay for top of the line. Like that's my face. Like I've spent 6 months looking around my area for an injector that I want to trust because that's my face. I had to drive an hour to get to her almost. Right. And
okay, so that makes sense. But I'll tell you something. There's a saying that I have. It says, if you pay less, you get less. If you pay more, you don't necessarily get more. So the truth is that always when you pay less, you get less. Nobody gives you something for nothing. And so just because you pay thousands and thousands of dollars doesn't mean it's great. But if you pay nothing, I assure you it will be terrible. I have patients who fly from around the world to come and get surgery. And to them, after extensive homework, that was what they felt was in their best interest. So I always advocate for people when it comes to surgery, plastic surgery or otherwise, to go wherever they feel in their heart is going to give them the best outcome. Because it's a one-off. You don't do it every week. You don't fly across the globe to get your dental cleaning. But if you're going to have, a facelift, go wherever the hell you think is best.
Yeah. How important do you think consultations are? Like actually meeting face to face with the doctor, and this maybe sounds kind of silly, but like vibes, like, do you connect with this person? Do you feel comfortable? Are they making you feel informed about what's happening? Or is it that not necessarily something that people should consider?
100, like there's no question.
Okay.
You have to go on a consult. And unfortunately, we live in the pandemic era now. So a lot of things have converted to Zoom. So I do a tremendous amount of telemedicine, people from around the country, around the world, and it is very convenient. It never takes the place of you sitting across from me, feeling my energy. I feel your energy. At the end of the day, all the credentials in the world aren't going to overcome our connectivity, which we refer to in old days, bedside, your bedside manner. Mm-hmm. How is it that I deliver the care? Some people are funny. Some people are flippant. Some people are rude. Some people are aggressive. Some people are arrogant. Some people are kind. You can get a little of it from a Zoom. You never can get it without meeting them. And a lot of doctors let the coordinators do the consults and you just show up. I don't ever understand that. I can't figure that out. I won't get a haircut if it's not my guy.
Yeah. Like once you got to lean into what's good. Like once you find the good thing, stick with it. And if you can't find out if it's good or not, why are you going with it?
For sure.
What are your thoughts on injectables? I hear a lot of, and I've already admitted that I've been getting Botox. I've gotten in fillers in the past. But I do hear a lot of mixed reviews about it. Some people saying that it makes you look worse in the long run. It's not worth it. But then also like, hey, look how cute I am right now. So kind of hard to fight that one.
Yeah, I mean, it's unarguable. I wasn't sure if it was a filter or not, but I'm assuming that's what you look like.
Yeah, I'm stunning. Thank you.
So this is my thoughts. So anyone who listens to me knows that I love analogies. So the problem is not the ingredients. The fact that my wife is Russian, so the fact that my borscht tastes terrible is not because borscht is bad. It's because I'm a terrible chef. I don't know how to make it. My mother-in-law, badass. So the issue at hand is not fillers. The issue at hand is not Botox. The issue at hand is not rhinoplasties. The issue at hand is not lip injections. The issue at hand is who is the one performing it? And as a result, how much of it did they put? Where do they put it? What kind do they select? So filler is a tool. And when the tool, the screwdriver, is used to screw in the screw, it's an incredible tool. When you use a screwdriver to put in a nail, it fails miserably. So if you give the tool to the wrong person, they're going to be like, wow, this screwdriver shit don't work. I don't even know why even people are using screwdrivers. What were you doing with it? Well, I was trying to put this nail in, it just doesn't work. Well, you're an idiot, first. And second of all, that's not what we use screwdrivers for. So fillers are incredible. They're designed to volumize areas that are depleted. They can create contour and great shape. Why are we in trouble? Because right now, the average person injecting filler doesn't know shit from Cheyenne. There's some nurse who got a weekend course, that used to be an ER nurse and wanted to be on Instagram. And so I do all my own injectables. I have no nurse injector, no nothing. You have to wait 6 months to see me. But I put in 1 or 2 syringes. You go to a regular spa and you get 18 syringes. So the syringe filler is getting a bad rap. That's just the bottom line. And so I think the real issue at hand is definitely not filler or Botox, but rather the person utilizing the tool incorrectly.
So, and you're probably going to give the same advice as before. How do we as potential customers and clients go about finding the person who's right for us? Research, following. Sometimes I think people don't know even how to tell which results are good and which are bad.
Well, I mean, you obviously know that you like chocolate and you hate vanilla. So if you look at someone's work and you're like, wow, that looks pretty good. It doesn't matter your friends think it looks like shit. You like it. That's what you're doing. It's aesthetic. Secondly, the beauty of Botox and filler is you get it, it's reversible if you are not an idiot and get stuff injected that's permanent, which you should never get. So even if you go to a colorist and they do a horrible job, my God, your highlights are terrible. She was awful. Okay, no harm, no foul. You go somewhere else. I am not a fan of going to low-level people. The reason you go to low-level people are people that are trained like nurse injectors or whatever is because it's convenient. They have a lot of time. They're very good at marketing. And you go and you get it done and it's reasonably affordable. You want to come to my office, you got to wait forever. It's inconvenient. It tends to be more expensive. So it's arguable. You know what I mean? Do you go to a neurosurgeon for a headache or do you go to a family practitioner for your headache? So I think there is no right answer. It's the sum total of all the information that's available. I would argue the overwhelming majority of people who have shitty results, if you sat down with them and say, how did you pick this person? I guarantee you very seldom will they say, I did a lot of homework. I went online. I read the reviews. I looked at their photos. I watched their following. I went and saw what YouTube's. It's like my girlfriend went there. They had a nice office. And I noticed that Kim Kardashian had filler done there. What? Yeah, why? Well, that's why you have a shitty result.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. But having, as much information, having a podcast, a doctor who's speaking out regularly about the misinformation, the too much information, the lies, the radiologists. I mean, that's a resource we now have, your podcast and your Instagram, to kind of navigate maybe some of the bullshit in this community.
It's just one more resource. The goal is to find as many of these things to guide you, and at the end, it's always a leap of faith. At the end of the day, any choice we make, we never know. And we just hope to make good or better choices. And so, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. You got to do the work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
where can we follow you? You have a podcast. It's called Plastic Surgery Uncensored. Everywhere we can find podcasts. You're on Instagram. What's your Instagram handle for people to follow?
It's Dr. Rady Rahban. So that's Dr. Rady is Rady. And my last name is Rahban, which is Rahban. So Dr. Rady Rahban at Instagram.
Awesome. And then now that we're best friends, you're happy to fix my left boob and give me some filler?
Done.
Cool. Oh my God. And everybody heard that, right? Okay, great.
And so you're good. But we're not touching the right one, just the left one.
Thank you. Yeah, no, the right one's fine. So
okay. Easy breezy.
Well, thank you so much for chatting with us, giving us all the information, and for just being the guy that we can trust now to, just expose the nasty world of radiologists doing liposuction.
So what's your social? What do all you have?
I'm everywhere. So I'm your favorite normal girl influencer talking about real life things as funny as possible. I'm Elena Davies on Instagram. That's ELENA DAVIES. You can find me the same way on my podcast, the MiscELENAeous Podcast. We have an episode every Tuesday. It all goes down on the stories, guys. So come play with me.
And it's the normal girl influencers like you who can bring light to these topics on their shows, which are done in order to create content and influence people. So why not influence them well? So good for you.
Yeah, good for the both of us. Are we heroes? Wow. Okay, I think we are.
Well, that wraps up another episode of Plastic Surgery Uncensored. Thank you, Elena Davies, for having me on your show and as a guest. I hope you guys found this interesting and fun. And as always, subscribe, download, and most importantly, share the podcast with those that you love, because without you, there's no purpose of me being here. Until next week. This is Dr. Rady Rahban.
Thank you for listening to Plastic Surgery Uncensored with Dr. Rady Rahban. We would love your feedback. If you enjoyed this episode or if you find our podcast helpful, tell us why. Leave us a review and make sure you subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. If you have a topic you would like for us to discuss in an upcoming episode, please reach out to us on Instagram at Dr. Rady Rahban, on Facebook at Rady Rahban, or at RadyRahban.com.